In the beginning, the NFL's 63rd season seemed more like a walk instead of a race to Super Bowl XVII. The threat of a player's strike hung over stadiums like mist on the moors. The owners were steadfast, the players united. Doomsayers predicted the 1982 season would crumble. Yet once the mad scramble began, victories and defeats were more exciting than bargaining points and revenue sharing. Football was king of the hill once again. On the field, a sour note was heard off it.
All NFL training facilities will be struck. There will be no practices, workouts, or training. We are united in our resolve to be treated and dealt with fairly and with dignity.
A players' strike grounded the coast-to-coast spectacle of pro football. As time passed, it appeared that the season would never fly again. But after 8 weeks, the NFL's 28 teams taxied back into takeoff position. The NFL awoke from a 57-day nightmare.
Okay, let's run it out of there. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
The flight to Pasadena and Super Bowl XVII was airborne once more. Attendance dipped, but those willing to forgive saw signs that the game was soon soaring at its accustomed altitude. Dan Fouts, the NFL's passing yardage leader, at the controls. Cincinnati's Kenny Anderson broke Sammy Baugh's 37-year-old record with an amazing 70.60% completion average for the season. The Anderson-led Bengals breezed into the AFC's Super Bowl tournament, while the Dallas Cowboys strolled into the NFC's playoffs with their usual cast of miracle makers and record breakers.
Dallas is 99 yards and 2 feet away from the Minnesota goal line. They have Dorsett as the only running back.
Leadership of quarterback Danny White and the imagination of Tom Landry combined to give Dallas their 17th consecutive winning season. At times, these Cowboys looked like machines that were computer-driven, programmed for Pasadena. But unlike the previous 2 seasons, the Cowboys were not unbeatable at home in Texas Stadium. Landry's team lost its season opener for the first time since 1965. And during a late-season slump, Dallas looked ordinary against less talented but more eager opponents. No one, not even the Cowboys, could escape the weirdness on the field during this strike-shortened season. Instead of an orderly march to Super Bowl XVII, teams launched a crazy scramble. Minnesota, Tampa Bay, and St. Louis improvised their way into the playoffs, while others like the Houston Oilers couldn't bumble their way out of enough trouble to join the hectic championship chase. While many stumbled in this strange season, in Miami, Don Shula kept his Dolphins right in step. The versatility of quarterback David Woodley, number 16, allowed Shula to open up the Dolphin offense. But Shula's time-proven formula for success remained unchanged, as fundamental football made Miami's defense, the Killer Bees, the NFL's toughest. This was a tough, determined, and smart football team, just like Shula himself.
Double tight, you're in, double tight.
A Zonkian fullback named Andra Franklin, number 37, was the final muscle that allowed Miami to power their way to the AFC Championship, beating the highly touted San Diego Chargers along the way. During a distracting season, the Dolphins achieved success with an orderly application of all their resources. But in Week 14, even they were victimized by the NFL's strangest season. In the closing minutes of a scoreless tie, that the year's most memorable performance was turned in by a bit player. In 1982, Shea Stadium was the home of a flashy and daring football team. It was a place where you could find a salty soft pretzel and the world's biggest hot dog. Emotion fueled these talented Jets, and 3 straight playoff games on the road would help them prove that their willpower equaled their firepower. Against Cincinnati, Freeman McNeil rushed for over 200 yards as the Jets humiliated the defending AFC champions 44-17. New York's next test would be a far sterner one indeed. The Raiders. Intimidation was their creed. Might makes right their pledge. And in 1982, they backed their boast with Rookie of the Year sensation Marcus Allen, number 32, the NFL's top scorer. The Silver and Black finished the season with the AFC's best record. But in the second round of the playoffs against the Jets, the Raiders were on the wrong end of the hammer they had so heartily wielded over the years.
Pass! Come on, get it! Pass! Get it! Come on! Get it! Pass! Yeah! Go, Jerry! Get back! Yeah! That's it, baby!
What a great hit.
New York's defense buried their skeptics and Jim Plunkett deep in the ground. And mighty Mark Gastineau danced on that grave with one final fit of fury. New York cruised on quarterback Richard Todd's tailwind to a 17-14 victory that jetted them all the way to the AFC Championship game. While the Jets were making noises in the East, in the West, the crash of the defending world champion 49ers was deafening. San Francisco was deflated by 6 losses, while in Green Bay, the Packers were pumped up and playoff bound. Led by smooth-striding wide receiver James Lofton, number 80, the Packers galloped into postseason play for the first time since 1972. Green Bay's sudden explosion was a surprise, but not nearly as big as the one that shook the nation's capital.
Yellow 41! Yellow 41!
In 1982, the Washington Redskins led the NFL's most important statistic, victories. They were a collection of unusual characters, like the Hogs, their huge offensive line. Quarterback Joe Theismann was an honorary piglet, and his crew of tiny wide receivers were so small, they were nicknamed the Smurfs. The Redskins also allowed the fewest points in football with a defense that strictly enforced a hands-off policy. While other teams won with stars, the Redskins won by using the efforts of every individual and by performing the extra efforts that make a team great. Everyone played an important role as 3 of Washington's 8 wins came on field goals by the record-setting Mark Mosley.
9 seconds to go. Theismann to hold from the 32, a 42-yard attempt. High snap. Theismann's got the ball. Plenty long enough. It's good! Mark Mosley has broken the National Football League record.
We're the type of guys who stand up and we'll meet the challenge and, see who wins. Today we won. They said that they're going to come in here, they're the butchers and we're the hogs. The thing they forgot is before a hog goes to the butcher, somebody got to kill it, and nobody even come close today.
No one in the Super Bowl tournament came close either. Not the Detroit Lions, who fell 31-7. Only Alvin Garrett's Smurf-like politeness spared the Lions from further embarrassment. But a week later, led by their big porkers up front and their groundhog running back John Riggins, number 44, Washington was less than courteous as they stampeded the Minnesota Vikings. The Redskins won 21-7 to advance into the NFC Championship. There, much to the delight of themselves and their fans, they would meet an old nemesis. It was the Cowboys and the Redskins. A rematch of bitter rivals with the NFC Championship at stake. Surrounded in RFK Stadium, the Cowboys circled their wagons while the Redskins donned their war paint, then attacked. Led by fullback John Riggins, who rushed for 140 yards, Washington drew first blood by scoring the game's first 2 touchdowns. Before Dallas could clear leather, the Redskins ambushed Cowboy quarterback Danny White. White left the game with a concussion and never returned. However, steadied by the gunfighter nerve of substitute quarterback Gary Hogeboom, who consistently converted key third down plays, Dallas mounted a second-half comeback. At the trigger of Landry's shotgun, Hogeboom fired at will, connecting twice for touchdowns. The Cowboys were back in the battle, their six guns blazing. However, Dallas's only road out of these badlands was through the air, and the Redskins knew it.
Batted in the air, picked off by George. Touchdown, Washington Redskins! I don't believe it!
Dallas was cut off at the pass as Washington's 31-17 victory left the Cowboys one game short of the promised land for the third straight year. For the young Redskins, the journey to Super Bowl 17 continued.
You watch so many Super Bowls. You know, as a young guy, you dream about it. If I wasn't here, I'd be home and having a little celebration, have people over. And now the same people will be watching me. And I love it! I love it!
Washington awaited the AFC champion. In muddied Miami, the Jets met the Dolphins in a battle far more physical than the season's first two meetings. Neither team scored in the first half. But in the second half, it was the day of the Dolphin. A Dolphin named A.J. Dewey.
The ball at the Jets' 48-yard line. 13 minutes to go. Dolphins lead 7-0. Third down and 7. In motion, Barkham back to the near side of the field. Todd will play fake. He throws the ball. It's intercepted at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be run in for a touchdown by A.J. Dewey at the 10, the 5. He scores!
Dewey's third interception of this championship finalized a 14-0 win as Miami earned the right to face the Redskins in Super Bowl 17. It was indeed ironic that in an age of pass-happy madness, a pair of throwbacks to the good old days of running and defense were the two who would line up in sunny Pasadena. The clouds of discontent that had darkened the season were swept away in the Rose Bowl as NFL 82 came to a stirring conclusion.
We've busted our We've worked harder than anybody to get here. Nobody can beat us in a team, and it's worth $70,000 and a big ring.
Miami would score on two of the longest plays in the history of the Super Bowl. The first came on a pass from David Woodley to Jimmy Cephalo that covered 76 yards. The second came on a 98-yard run by Fulton Walker. Number 41 used a key block by Steve Scholl to record the first kickoff return for a touchdown in the history of the event. But for all their long-range lightning, Miami couldn't put the Redskins away. Washington kept the contest close, then used their hogs and diesel engine fullback John Riggins to grind out a world championship.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go, diesel.
Let's go. Goal line, goal line. I left tight wing, 70 chip on white. Ready?
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. Should come with John Riggins right up the middle. Right up over the middle.
There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Go.
John Riggins' run was the longest in Super Bowl history, while his 166 yards on 38 carries set Super Bowl records as well. The Washington Redskins won the World Championship 27-17 and ended the strange season of 1982 with a heroic victory, won in classic fashion.
Defense, let's play the great defense the whole day long. Special teams right from the beginning.
We busted our We've worked harder than anybody to get here. Nobody can beat us in a team, and it's worth $70,000 and a big ring.
Cephalo to the near side. Woodley up under quarterback, fakes the pass. Coming to the near side. He's got Cephalo wide open. Big gainer. He's got a man beat to the 40, to the 30. He could be gone. It's a horse race. It's a Miami touchdown. 76-yard touchdown pass thrown by David Woodley, and they did something weird there that caught the defense with their pants down.
24-year-old David Woodley was the youngest quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl, but he began like a seasoned veteran. His pass to Jimmy Cephalo was the second longest scoring play in Super Bowl history, and the Miami Dolphins gained a 7-0 lead over the Washington Redskins early in the first period. Angered by the Dolphins' easy touchdown, the Redskins' hard-charging defensive line helped recover what their secondary had given away. A jarring tackle by Dexter Manley caused Woodley to fumble, and Dave Butts recovered for Washington at the Miami 46. After the Redskins' defensive line caused the first turnover of Super Bowl 17, their offensive line, nicknamed the Hogs by line coach Joe Bugle, began to control the tempo of the game with a play called 50 Gut.
40 and 50 gut is John Riggins running off tackle. Running off tackle where he gets the football, he glides to the offensive tackle, and he makes his breaks from there. This is really our bread and butter, and we were having some success running to our left side, their right side, because we felt we had the great matchups. We feel, as far as physical football, we felt Bo Camper was a 250-pounder who's a great pass rusher. But Joe Jacoby going into the Super Bowl weighed 300 pounds. So we felt in order to beat Miami, we would have to win this matchup. And Joe Jacoby was going to have to hammer and pound Ken Bo Camper.
Jacoby and Russ Grimm, the two hogs that time with the big blocks. Oh, John Riggins, the diesel getting warm.
Drink up that diesel. Let's go, diesel.
Along with the guts came the first hint of glory as Big John Riggins chugged into field goal range. Mosley's 31-yard field goal made the score 7-3. But this scoring drive was just a prelude to the more intricate web of strategy to be woven in the second quarter.
Going into the Miami game, the guy that created the most problems was A.J. Dewey. Throughout the whole season and the two playoff games that we saw prior going to the Super Bowl, he had a lot of sacks because he lined up in various positions. He lined up as an inside linebacker, as a defensive tackle, and as an outside linebacker. This is where he was most effective, rushing from the outside. So one of the prime things that we felt we had to do as an offense is try to get in formations that would stabilize him and force him to be an inside linebacker all the time. For us to win the Super Bowl, we had to come up with the type of formations that would stabilize their defense, where they could not afford to move A.J. Dewey. That was the key.
By constantly shifting their offensive formations, Washington kept A.J. Dewey off balance, forcing him to remain an inside linebacker, where he was further confused by the Redskins' play selection. Washington ran reverses, flea flickers, and counterplays, leading Dewey on a furious but often futile chase. With Dewey neutralized, Miami's killer bees had lost their sting. Late in the second period, after a Miami field goal had made the score 10-3, Washington drove 80 yards through the befuddled bees to a touchdown. Joe Theismann personally accounted for 62 of those yards, expertly mixing his passes and scrambles with a dependable 50 gut.
Near left slot, 50 gut on red. Ready? I don't think they've worked against a lot of movement. I just don't believe they could have, because every time you move, they're really not sure what's going on back there.
At the 4-yard line, all 5 receivers went in motion, causing split-second confusion in the Dolphins' secondary.
Lob into the end zone. Garrett's there. Touchdown, Washington Redskins. He got it. Redskins are going to tie this football game.
Well, the killer bees have been stung. They have.
In 1982, Bill Arnsparger's defense was the best in the NFL. But in Super Bowl 17, they looked just plain ordinary against Joe Gibbs' cleverly designed offense.
One minute, 51 seconds left to go in the first half of Super Bowl 17, and our score is Miami 10, Washington 10. Here's Hayes' kickoff. Waiting back deep, Fulton Walker. He's got it at the 2, out to the 5, to the 10, comes to the near side to the 20. He's out to the 25, turns it back. He's gone. 50-yard line, 40-yard line. He's gone. It's a touchdown. A 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for the Miami Dolphins. And as soon as the Redskins tie it, the Dolphins come back on top.
When it looked like the Redskins would go into the dressing room, tied up at halftime, coming from behind, to have this happen to you in the last 2 minutes is devastating, to say the least.
Fulton Walker's 98-yard kickoff return was the longest return in Super Bowl history. A crunching block by Steve Shaw eliminated the last Redskin in Walker's path. Following Walker's touchdown, the Redskins immediately threatened the Dolphins' sudden 7-point lead. But when Theismann threw a complete pass inbounds rather than a clock-stopping incompletion that would have left time for a short Mosley field goal try, time ran out on Washington, with Miami holding a 17-10 halftime advantage. In the third quarter, Washington's misdirection plays continued to keep Miami off balance. A flanker reverse to Alvin Garrett gained 44 yards and set up Mark Mosley's second field goal, which cut Miami's lead to 4 points. It quickly became apparent that Don Shula planned to protect his slim lead with a ground attack that would eat up both yards and minutes. But when Andre Franklin was stopped, the Dolphins' offense could no longer generate any continuity or sustained life. In fact, the only pass David Woodley completed in the second half was to Redskin safety Mark Murphy, number 29. While Miami's offense was dead, its defense, like Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart, was still beating, keeping the Dolphins' hopes for victory alive. The Killer Bees swarmed Theismann and intercepted him twice. The Dolphins' defense not only protected the lead, they nearly increased it. Late in the third period, with the ball on the Redskin 18-yard line, Kim Beaucamper deflected Theismann's pass and for a split second had Don Shula's third world championship in his hands.
Oh, Lordy! Was that almost the game breaker?
That was almost
very close.
A touchdown.
And number 58, Kim Beaucamper, came very, very close to an interception for a touchdown. Joe Theismann with a heads-up play. My goodness.
He might be able to play pass defense.
Theismann's alert play prevented a sure touchdown that could have crushed Washington. If he had not knocked the ball out of Beaucamper's hands, Miami would have led 24-13 going into the fourth quarter. Needing 2 touchdowns to win, Washington would have had to abandon their time-consuming running game, and Riggins would no longer have been a factor. Theismann had saved the game. Now Riggins and the Hogs would win it. In the fourth quarter, the Redskins lit up the Super Bowl sky with a game plan straight out of pro football's distant past.
We went to Plan B. Plan B was that we were going to not fool around with any more misdirection. We were going to run directly at them and So Coach Gibbs told the team right then and there, we're going to go back out, we're going to establish a line of scrimmage, we're not going to get impatient, we're going to win the football game by running it.
Somewhere Vince Lombardi must have smiled his approval of Joe Gibbs' decision. Washington's quest for the world championship of pro football turned the sport away from its pass-happy present and back to its roots.
John Riggins, the ball carrier. Riggins, the ball carrier, gains 9 yards. John Riggins, the ball carrier.
With 10 minutes to play, the Redskins reached the Dolphin 42. It was 4th and 1. The focus of the entire game narrowed to this one critical decision.
Let's go. Goal line, goal line. I left tight wing, 70 chip on white. Ready?
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. Should come with John Riggins right up the middle. Right up over the middle.
Shot! Yellow 41! Yellow 41! Hut!
There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
A 43-yard touchdown run from scrimmage is the longest in Super Bowl history.
Will be forever linked with the most dramatic touchdown run in Super Bowl history.
70 chip, we run it various ways, and the way we scored the Super Bowl is Clinton Didier was our wingback. We started him in motion across the formation, faked him and brought him back. Now, Clinton Didier is responsible for the end man on the line of scrimmage, so he blocked the strong safety. John Riggins knows on 70 chip there's going to be one free man, it's going to be the corner. But we tell John, with a running start, and if we capture the line of scrimmage, then John Riggins should beat any cornerback in the NFL.
.70 chip was a perfectly executed play, and the image of John Riggins busting through the arms of Don McNeil will last for all time in the memory of the Redskin faithful.
Right where he said he should go, he went. The big guy did it. Holy cow, what a play. 42-yard touchdown run on 4th and a foot. John Riggins has given the Redskins the lead in Super Bowl 17. The Bees are dead.
John Riggins' heroic effort put Washington ahead 20-17. Miami, on the other hand, could find no heroes in the continuing nightmare of a second half. Unable to run or pass, the Dolphins' offense gained a total of only 11 yards in the 4th period. And the Killer Bees, tired and battered, no longer had the strength to stop Washington's procession into history.
8:49 to go on first down. Riggins, left tackle, inside the 40 to the 35. Those Hogs are fired up. Yeah, that's a big hog in the backfield, too, I'll tell you. There's Diesel.
The Hogs made the holes, and Riggins found them. There are no official blocking statistics, but Riggins' statistics are a tribute to the men up front. 38 carries for 166 yards. No player ever carried the ball so often or so far in a Super Bowl.
Riggins up the gut.
Don Shula's losing his deodorant on that sideline now. He's perspiring a little.
Riggins, left tackle, cuts back against the grain to the 25, down to the 24-yard line.
The Redskins marched 41 yards in 12 plays, controlling the ball for 6 minutes and 54 seconds in the most time-consuming drive ever in a Super Bowl.
First down, Redskins. First and goal.
Here's a rollout.
Rolling out to his right.
He should run it in.
He flips it. Touchdown. Touchdown. Redskins. Charlie Brown. That gentleman may be the nail in the coffin.
No question, it is the nail in the coffin.
Charlie Brown's touchdown was sweet icing on a cake, baked perfectly by a tough old running back and a group of determined linemen who turned the Rose Bowl into hog heaven and the Washington Redskins into world champions.
Joe Gibbs, the Hogs, and MVP John Riggins have beaten the Miami Dolphins 27-17.
This NFL Films production has been brought to you by the National Football League. The NFL is online at www.nfl.com.